Alright, today I'm back to play some more Islanders. I'm still going to be on the kick of trying to maximize the first island as much as possible. Um, it's not going to be as enticing as the late game play, as I've noticed, because a lot of the changes that they made to this game are in the late game buildings, and specifically with mechanics that you unlock as you progress through the run when you go to the second island. But that will be saved for later videos. I want to try building up as good of a base as I can before moving on to any of the more complex stuff so that I can be more sure of my decisions in the early game so that I can put more focus into the late game when I get there. So let's choose a new island. Last time around, we did get a lower score than our very first run. It was mostly because of this statue here, not having very much space for houses around it, nor any of the production buildings being able to be nearby to the city center. We'll see if we get a better island set up this time around. And that is just beautiful, by the way. The amount of care and love that they put into the UI in this game is amazing. Here, with just the small little blips. Okay, so we get a pretty similar island to the one that we just came off of. It looks like the exact same structure up here, actually. Pretty interesting. Not a lot of trees, so we're not going to be going for any kind of lumberyard packs. And the statue is, again, not in a very good position. This is not going to be something that we can build our city center around, which is going to massively hinder our points because we're not getting 4 or 5 on buildings nearby. I think houses are 4 and mansions are 5, but I might be misremembering. Let's open up a pack. I'm gonna hope for seaweed farms. I'm a fan of starting out with seaweed farms, just because a brewery, I have to place down everything, and it feels like they don't. It's not like they progress with other buildings as well. The brewery, especially for early game buildings, can only interact. Well, I shouldn't say early game. A mid game building of the tavern. It only interacts with the tavern and the warehouse, I believe. So there's not much that it can scale off of. Seaweed farms will do lighthouses, they'll do fishers, and they will do huts, I believe. Or seaweed fields go off with the fishers, but the seaweed farms don't like to be. But you can still get a couple extra points that way. Plus, having seaweed farms in abundance means that you get all of the extra points from placing down seaweed fields beside 2 seaweed farms, which I'm a big fan of. I could also try to like intentionally hinder my build in the future to see what that feels like, or if it is actually a hindrance, challenge my preconceptions. But for right now, we'll start with finding a good spot for the seaweed farms. Looking here, there's maybe a good spot to be able to put them across from each other, but I don't think they're close enough for a seaweed field to... Yeah, there's only going to be like 2, maybe 3 that'll interact with both of them, so that's not an option. Some with a little bit more space is over here, but there is a rock in the way. If there wasn't this rock, it'd probably be a really good area to get 2 or even 3 going. I'll come back later if there's nothing else to play off of. These set of rocks might be where I take it though. I place 1 here, 2 here, and 3 here to be able to get points from the center as much as possible. And I'll probably start by placing a seaweed farm here. The second one goes here, and then the third one faces outwards going here. And then fields progressing from left to right. Just making sure there's no more islands that I'm not seeing or considering. I could also try placing it towards the mainland so that the seaweed farm can interact with other buildings, but since I'm not really used to what the seaweed farm or fields scale off of in particular, I'll keep an eye when placing other buildings so that I know in future where I should be placing them. Should it be beside sandy areas? Should I consider, what is it, like only when it's beside grass is it a good opportunity to? So let me go back to the original plan I had here. Feeling pretty good about a placement there. This one then doesn't have to hit that farm, and then this one doesn't have to hit that farm either. Sadly, these guys probably aren't going to get too many points off of the seaweed fields that I've already placed down beside this guy, but I'm willing to bite that bullet to be able to get more points when I place down my later fields. I'm not going to overthink it. Just going to place one here. And then 2 farms that are not going to be able to hit this rock with their radius. I'm going to save that for future fields like, say, this one. Meaning, I think I can safely put one here, and then that builds... Yeah, that's the hexagon setup that I want to have. It'll hit this next farm, and... I guess, yeah, there's the second place that I put it. Now, I already said that I don't want the Brickmaker pack, so I'll take... Oh, that's rough. I'll take the Brickmaker pack instead of the brewery. I get a lot of seaweed fields, which is nice if I were to have another seaweed farm and I could start doing the game plan that I wanted to over here. And because I need to make 45 points, I think a brickyard's only going to give me like 12 and this 15. So I'm going to need to place like 2 or 3 seaweed fields to be able to like get to my next building pack. So sandpit should go down first, brickyard second. We'll try placing a sandpit close enough that we get... Well, I guess there's only 2 options. This one, which doesn't provide full points from the raise. I think there was a 14 here, which is only 1 point off. So I could place it on this side. And I will want to save most of my buildings for getting extra points off the statue. No, I think it's good to get an 18 here just because I want to try maximizing my points to be able to get my next building pack, more options. And a brickyard near that statue is also going to mean that I place my masons here, which also means that I'm placing my houses here. And I think making a house city down here or up here is best. It does also suck that there's a lot of ridges, meaning that there's not too much space for my houses. I am going to have to put as many as I can down here, which isn't going to be a lot, especially in comparison to my first run. I'm like realizing how lucky I was to get those or that island generation and how much island generation matters. A brickyard up here feels fine. I don't want to place it. Yeah, because then if I place the second sandpit, I can put it facing in this direction, maybe dodging this guy, and still being in range of the brickyard that I placed for extra points. Then we're going to have to place, it looks like 2 seaweed fields. So I will cap this off. And if I tuck one in here, I might be able to place a seaweed farm that is looking in this direction for like these 3 fields, but not close enough to this farm. City pack, see city pack, take city pack. No seaweed field or seaweed farms, so we can't place any of the seaweed fields. Let's start on the houses. City center beside a statue is usually my way to go because, yeah, getting 10 points instead of just 6 on these, massive. Getting 13 points on these instead of just 8 is massive. If I had to guess, I'm going to put a city center here. I'm going to build houses up top and mansions down below. I'll hopefully luck into another city center at some point to be able to place more mansions around. I could maybe place that city center here and a plateau to be able to take up space on the water, turning it into land that I can put more mansions on top of. But I don't think I'm getting too high of a score on this island. Reducing its size by stuffing it into a wall, like getting rid of this as effective places to put down buildings, doesn't feel the greatest, but I don't know if I'm getting better. We can do a little bit of learning through trial and error. Ooh, and that's rough. I do want to wait. It's 1 point off to be able to get me to the next building pack. These houses... Do I save this in the future for when I also put down a mason? What's going to get me the most points if I place a house on this side or on this side? I think I save this for more mansion space. I don't think there's much thinking or planning ahead that I can do at this point. Maybe that's just that I don't have enough experience with the game, or maybe it's that I don't have many options. But a house here is just feeling good, so I'll place it. Oh, now we've got a lumber pack or a brewing pack. The brewery can fit on the backside here. Hops fields you can place on sand. I don't know if you're allowed to place them on stone. That's something I want to check out. But there is certainly not enough trees to make any amount of lumber effective. So let's get the hops fields down. Yeah, they can't go on stone, so it's either grass or sand. And the brewery, even though it gets rid of the trees, I would like to put up here in the off chance that I'm able to scale to a tavern, in which case I can place a tavern around here, getting plus 18 points or something like that by being beside a brewery, and then the points for being beside houses that I'm already planning to be putting up on this ridge. Now, if a brewery is here, we're going to need to make sure that the hops fields are in range, so they're going to have to be tucked along the side of this face. And I'll wait on placing the brewery because it scales more based off the amount of hops fields that I have. Let's get some mansions down. 11 compared to 16. Ooh. I like that. It does get rid of the one extra block of space that I left behind with this house, but I'm not too mad about losing one block of space. Maybe I should be with how cramped everything is going to have to be, but I'm not going to beat myself up too much over it. And then it's between placing a brewery, a house, or a seaweed field. The hops fields are definitely not going to be in range of the brewery that I want to place. So they're not going to benefit from they're not going to benefit from. Okay, the brewery benefits 5 from a hop field. Hop fields benefit 4 from the brewery, but that means that a hop field, its range is very small, needs to be very close to it. If I place this early and I get any hops fields, I'm just losing out on those 4 points. That doesn't feel good, so I'm fine placing one house earlier, even though I should honestly be waiting for a shaman or masons or something else to scale the house's points more than just this measly 12. Bring me back to the days of plus 30 points on these buildings. There's the mason. And now, oh, and a city center. Okay, so when I did my last 2 runs, I never saw a second city center. So I thought that they on the first island just gated you from getting a second one, but I see that that isn't the case now. If I wanted to play the long game, I would take the minus 25 points here and then place a bunch of mansions within range of both the statue and both city centers. But it's not a possibility anymore. City centers, I am going to put as close together as possible while still leaving a bit of space for things like houses to be hitting, or I want as many houses to hit both of the city centers as possible. So if I put a city center here, I'm not going to be able to fill up any of the space because I mean it's already full. If I put a city center onto this corner, I might be able to get more houses that hit both because they'll go along like this line. Let me see how many I could get to fit in. Maybe this one, 2. It's not looking like too many. What about houses up on the ridge, which probably not gonna be able to place many of? Yeah, it's not feeling like there's any good city center spots up top either. I could just move to an entirely new area to get points with this, like just base points with the city center, the plus 15 here. But it's a swing. It's a swing of 45 points. Well, okay, with the statue, it's a swing of 40 points. Do I think that I'm going to get 40 points worth out of the city center? I'm going to place houses beside it, which get an extra plus 6, so I would need to place like 6 or 7 for that to be worth it. And if I place some masons down, they like city centers as a plus 2. These guys like a mason as a plus 4, so I can mitigate some of my losses by placing a bunch of masons down before placing my city center. And if I have masons up here, I also want my houses to be up top, so I think it is best to play it up top here, and maybe even out of range of the other city center, so that these guys can give some residual points to the city center, and this guy, when I put him down, is going to get the points from all of the masons. And then my major source of points is going to be playing houses in between the two, where masons are lined up here, basically, houses lined up here, and then city center back here. Any more mansions will just fill up that island. Okay. Where do I start? I start with masons because I want the city center to benefit off of them. Then I place down the city center, and then the houses benefit off of both. So let's figure out where the masons go. I'm seeing plus 18 as the most points, and I don't want to block off any of the land along this ridge. I want them to be fully like off the lip, so they're built into the cliffside to use up as much space as possible. I'm fine with placing 2 masons pretty close by here to get 18 and 14 points respectively, and then maybe one far enough away to get this 15 points, and maybe pick up some extra houses that I fit here after I get this space filled up with them. And if I build houses, yeah, it seems like enough space to be doable. The city center that I want to place is definitely going to be out of range of them though. Ooh. So if I place it closer, this house is not going to reach. Houses here are going to reach it for an extra 6 points. Ooh. Okay. I'm going to send it on the mason idea. After they're placed, then I'll see what the city center feels right to place. And I need to back that up because I've already placed it off the top of the cliff, like I said I didn't want to do. So we'll go there, so that a bunch of houses can hit it. We'll go as close to this guy as possible, and I think I'm only taking up yeah, that amount of space on the lip is not going to matter. Surely it's not going to. There's a 15 somewhere around here that I saw at one point, but I think I'm hitting an 11 instead because the mason is in range. So doing this 13 instead should be fine. I'll go with it there. And now placing a city center for plus 27 points or minus 18 is the decision to make. I don't think there's enough reason to place it close enough. Now seeing how spread apart the houses are going to be, they're never going to be able to reach both city centers at the same time, which does also suck that I'm not going to get any houses that reach these masons and the next city center. It's not the worst thing because masons only apply 2 points to houses, but it's not going to get me as many points as I did on my first run. City center in range of all of the masons just feels right, and I don't think I saw 23 up here. I don't think placing it up here is gonna be a good use of space. I want to be able to build on all sides of the city center. We'll go there. And now that we have our next pack, again, lumber pack not looking good in this area, so we'll go with a lighthouse. And no other seaweed farms to place over there. Kinda sucks. Let's see what kind of houses we can place down in good areas. Maybe I'll be able to get one to sneak close enough on that ridge to hit the city center. Might not. Right now, it's still even best to play them down here, but I'm gonna save that space for the mansions. No, they don't hit the city center yet. Okay, so it's still placing a house down here because it's the most points. I mean, it fits nice. I have to play it, right? We'll see if any more mansions can hit both. Yeah, the city center at the statue. It's a good placement. I think there is reason to save mansions to hope for a fountain to be able to place in the center, and then I can structure my mansions around it as best I can. So for now, I'm going to play the rest of my houses. Now, I don't normally like building on an angle like this, or starting to build on an angle, because then the rest of my buildings have to be on an angle, and if I get to make a straight line here, I'm wasting such a minimal amount of space down the corner. It does suck that I'm not in range of the city center with that building, though, and I actually can't be unless I do some weird rotation with it. I could build here, but then that opens me up to the possibility of not leaving enough space on the right for houses. Like if I get a 2x2, sure I can place one here, but it's not going to be in range of that city center down there. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be taking stock of how this run went at the end so that I can try making improvements for the future, because I feel like I've played this, I don't want to say poorly per se. I mean, I have already finished what the developer's requirements are for the level and then some, but I'm not playing up to the standard that I want to be. Like at this point, I'm just seeing a big number and I'm placing a building, and that might be the way to go. It might not. I truly couldn't tell you. We will take a farming pack because I can put a mill beside these masons to get a lot of points. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to fill up a lot of this space with houses. So if I go like... Oh... Usually I don't have to worry about the circles too much, because if you place it down, the circles can go with, like through buildings, and they're fine with that. As long as there's just space at that tip, it's fine. But if anything blocks it, like this cliffside here, I'll get rid of the dot. I'm just not used to placing mills beside ridges this big, that I'm not used to seeing so few lines being drawn. And I'm also not able to rotate the lines to be able to sneak one here and here. Now, because this area is only in range of the masons and it's out of range of the two city centers, that's something that I didn't plan properly, is that the city centers aren't in range of many houses, either of them. I think placing fields here instead is a fine alternative for points for the situation that I'm in. So I place the mill here to maximize its score, and then I can place wheat fields here, here, and maybe I get a third one before the end of the game, place it here. That is 26 points. And then the fields themselves could just wrap around this house. 1, 2, maybe 3, 4, and maybe 5. Probably not 5. I'm going to place the mill here and place my wheat fields down as a source of points to get to my next building pack, and hope that there's enough space for me to place down more than just these 2 wheat fields in the future. Now I've got 25 points left to go. I can make it there with my remaining 3 houses, or using a mansion here or there. I could maybe place down my brewery, not expecting to get too many hops fields, but I think I'll wait on that. It's a source of points that I don't want to, like, I don't know. I don't want to damage control with the brewery over here to, like, hopefully get more houses or something like that, because it doesn't seem like my house economy is doing as great as I want to. I shouldn't be planning too much for it in this run. And seaweed fields, I still am waiting on that seaweed farm. Getting an extra 8 on every one of these is going to be nice. So that leaves me with the option of playing my houses or the lighthouse. I think playing a lighthouse early is fine, just because it's only a loss of... Ooh. It's only a loss of 4 points. Plus whatever seaweed fields I would play down afterwards, so maybe like 8 total. As opposed to playing houses early and I guess losing out on the points of a shaman. Yeah, I'll play a lighthouse first. There's the shaman. Okay, okay. So, shamans? That could be, okay, so that could be a benefit of placing seaweed fields closer, is they get a lot of points based on the seaweed fields. So if I somehow had, yeah, like a corner tucked away right here, and then my seaweed farm built with a seaweed farm here and a seaweed farm here, it would pick up a lot of the points from them, and I could maybe build some houses around it. Problem being is that I want to benefit off of houses as much as I can from the shaman. So placing it in the corner here and building house will get me how many points? It will get me an extra 15. Is that worth it? Yeah, it's worth it for the -10 right there, but I might be able to find a better place to place a shaman that is just that's okay, that's 3 houses plus 3 points. But I don't have to worry about playing houses near the shaman. If I see anywhere better than a 23, I think I might take it. Yeah, because if I place it here, it's just not around any buildings that can benefit from it. Ooh, if I can get this guy out of range minus... Okay, so it's -10 or it's +3. This one means that I can put some mansions around it. They get +6. Do these guys get like +5? They get +5, yeah. Houses infinitely better with a shaman. A +1 point for how small of a range this is to try to play around. I should be playing with houses as often as I can. Ooh, it's definitely too far away for any kind of houses to be close enough for the shaman to benefit, but it's a fun spot. I'm going to place it here and get some houses in range of both of them. I'll play a wheat field first. Play it on this side and hopefully get... Ooh, if I play it here, I don't get the connection bonus from placing beside the other 2 fields. So it has to be on this side first. And we just hope that there's enough space for 2 more fields on top instead of 1. Now let's play those houses. It's just barely not enough space. Oh my goodness. Does that ruin? That would ruin my wheat fields. I'm not going to place it there. I'm just realizing how bad of a placement this one is now. And I could have undone it if I didn't place this building down. Playing a bit too fast, a bit too loose on this one, just because I feel like it's already not going to be too high scoring of a run, but that's only going to make it a lower scoring run than what it should be. A fountain. Nice to see. Yeah, we'll get it for 34 points. I have 2 fountains in the first pack. That like never happens. Wow. I might want to consider placing one over here. Okay, if I play a fountain here, I can then place some more mansions around it to be high scoring. Any mansions hit the city center? No, they don't. Okay, so I can safely play this one. And if I hug it to the left side, it's just barely in range of if I tuck a fountain into this corner, which will hopefully... Okay, I thought there was going to be more space that it reaches into. I'm still going to hug it to the right corner here. I can play this one for 25, plus a bit extra from the mansions that I'm going to play here. Another shaman. If I were to look for just a pure point scoring one by putting him into a corner elsewhere or around flowers, what's the most that I can expect to get? I think there's some flowers up here, and this one was giving like, but it's ruined from that one down there. It used to be giving like 23, yeah. Is there one in this corner over here? So I can expect to get around like 15 points with it if I put it into a good spot, tucked away in a corner. But if I put it here to get me, I think there's like a 13-point spot, if I'm not mistaken. There's 11. There's 13. Then I can, in the future, place some houses beside both this mason and shaman and close to the other houses that have already been built here. So the loss of 2 points is going to pay up in the future by houses expanding over here. Now, is it time to place the other fountain yet? I don't think so. I'll be able to get one more mansion in range when I place it there. And if I play any mansions here after the fact, they'll be in range of the fountain and they'll get points back, so I won't have to worry about it. This is exactly... Oh, right. Mansion first, fountain second. It was exactly the mansion I was looking for, but it comes out further than... Never mind. It fits beautifully. All according to Kakaku. Okay, 34-point fountain. Not going to complain about it. Not going to think about it. Now, with our remaining buildings, let's see what a fisher looks like. 24. More than I was expecting. If I play one here, though, then I'm able to play another fisher over here. Doesn't get any fish spots, but it does get the 2 city centers, which is still enough points. It's enough points. If I tuck this guy further back, am I able to get any... I shouldn't play for more than 2 fishers, I don't think. I don't think the run's going to go long enough to get me 3. So I think placing one here is more than fine. And now, seeing our point total, we need 9 points. I think there's not many mansions that will get me 9 points at this point, because they're not close enough to a city center or a shaman to do so. There is one. Right, left over in this space by the fountain. I'm fine to cash in on that, save my houses for a little bit longer. Park. Now, ooh, and I don't have any places for sand pits to go. Because I've taken over all of the space for housing. Yeah, I'm feeling really limited by the island here. This is the place that I want to build my city center because it's a statue, but it is also the only sand in the area. Okay, so I can struggle to find a spot for 12 points here, so that it's better if I get an eventual warehouse, but I don't think that's going to happen. I guess this is only another 12 points. Am I going to be using the space for anything? I'd consider a park down here, but I think there are other spaces for parks. Yeah, 13 points is good, but I can replicate that elsewhere. So putting the sand pit here is fine by me. 10 points. Then this is looking like another nice park spot for 16. I just want to check to make sure that a house doesn't net me any more by getting, yeah, close enough to the city center like that. for 16. Checking for locations up here. I'm also getting some 16 spots, and will continue to grow that as I play more houses down. So I don't think I need to play a high scoring 16 here. I'll just build more houses up here. Let's get a park into place then. Another score one. I was hoping for a skinny one to be able to put here, because I think that's going to be pretty high scoring. I don't think I have any other good spots for parks immediately. There was this one here, but I'm going to be using that space for a house instead because I need to hit the shaman. And I would really like to be able to get a corner piece filled out here. And then I don't know if there's enough space to play 2 houses. Maybe if I get an L block here, or a 2x2, and then another 2x2 or a corner piece here. Those are pretty limiting on the houses, but I can place some over here by the mason instead of the shaman to get points. Maybe, ooh, I do even get so lucky as to hit the shaman down in the corner there. It might ruin the Tetris setup that I have going on, but it might also, that seems pretty in line with what it is down here. Let me try aiming it up. Does it slide up at all? No, it doesn't. Okay, I can even slide it down a little bit. I am fine with that placement then. And we will see if this guy can lock in. It does. Okay, perfect. And we also have one of our L blocks to be able to take up this space. I might get, or a corner block. I might get lucky enough and have enough space to put down an L block here that hooks into the leftover space, but the ridge might be too close for that as well. We'll see what happens. If I were to put a block here, yeah, that still gets me a crisp 16 points. So, this. If I put an L block in this direction, yeah, that's probably safer. That's a safer bet. Because then I can hook my next corner piece into here. I'll need it to be a small one, but it'll get me the points from the shaman and the city center. Seeing 17. Not seeing any better over here. Waste too much space. I'm gonna go with a 17 in the back. Oh, we're getting close to the end already. Granted, it's more points than I got on my last run. 730 is already bigger than the 600. Which I guess I did get a good enough platform and 2 city centers to build around, compared to just one up in the middle of nowhere. Is it worth it to place a seaweed field before something like a park? I'll be fine with this park placement to get me to the next area, because I'm not going to be playing any houses here. And I don't know if there's many better places to play parks other than just playing more houses. Maybe not back here. If I had a house, I could check to see what it hits, but I don't think it's going to be any longer of a radius than this park, meaning it's not going to hit that mason down there. Neither is it going to hit the shaman. I'm going to say this is fine to play for an extra 4 points, especially seeing as we're pretty close to the end. Now plateau. This allows me to build out onto the water, but without it being close enough to the city center or the statue. I don't know if it's really worth it to be playing the mansions and houses on it. What I could preferably do, if there's a way to sneak it into this area just for a high amount of base points, or to better fill out this central area as like a flat space to build off of instead of all these ridges, I'd like to do that, but I haven't been able to play around leaving a square this big open for that long. I think I will just settle for trying to sneak it in here for as many points as I can. A 20 point. Oh, it does go underneath. Okay, how far can I get it to go underneath? Maybe I'll even be able to fill out more of a, like, as the name implies, a plateau here beside the shaman, and that will let me place some pretty high scoring mansions there, because now I don't have any high scoring mansion spots down below anymore. Okay, I remember seeing more than 18, and I will continue trying until I see that number again. There's the 28. Now we're gonna hope that a mansion, it can bridge the gap in some spots, but not all spots. I'll take that as good enough. We've got another Fisher. We cannot place it in the same spot because it's such a big negative, but 18's good enough. And it's not going to get any better elsewhere. Ooh, we got the skinny park. That's going to allow us to play here for a good 16 points. That's what I was hoping for. See if there's anything better around the edges of the city. Just because it doesn't like the sand pit up there. Still think, yeah, the -3 is not enough to counterbalance how many things it's beside. Let's play some more houses up top. Oh, we got a square, and ooh, I don't even have to hook it in to get it close enough to the city center. It's nice. We can play it there then. Now it might be time. I think we're gonna have to play the rest of our buildings, or the majority of them. We are 30 points away. Brewery's gonna get us 14, meaning I need another 20 on other buildings. This mansion is gonna get us about 13. So I need to place brewery, mansion, and I think a singular seaweed field to get to the next area. The seaweed field might not be enough. It's 30 points. 10, 10, 10. Yeah, it would be enough. I don't think my fishers are going to get any better. I'm not going to be getting any more city centers for them to play off of. I'm not going to be getting another lighthouse. Can't spawn in new fish. So I'll play him because nothing else is going to increase his score in the future. And that 18 is the best we can get. I could... No, I could play a 16 here, keep it at a range of the 18. Or no, I play the 18 first and I can play the 16 second. Okay, now I have one more building to place to get me 11 points. It can be a seaweed field, it can be a mansion, it can be a brewery. I'm gonna go with a mansion here first. This just feels too good not to play. Let's try squeezing him up on this edge as much as we can. Maybe even more by putting him... It's less by putting him diagonal. Damn. There we go. And what's the next building pack? A hut. And we have gotten to the 3 draw. This is probably too many points for what I'm able to work with here. If I got a seaweed farm from here, I think I'd be able to pull it out to be able to get one more building pack, but it's not looking good. We're looking to maximize all of our points. We're not looking to do any kind of planning. We're just going to look around to see the biggest numbers we can and put them down in those locations. The 17 is looking like the biggest, or 18. Not seeing any better down here or here. There is... Oh, there's a 21 here. Ooh, that's a pretty tricky spot. And I'm not going to get it again with any other pieces. Okay. This piece can now take over the space that our houses would normally use up, just because I am playing for as many points as a final push as I can. And now I want this to be beside city centers, not beside industrial buildings. Is it better to move it to this side? To only hit the one city center. No, it does not look like it. Okay. I'm feeling pretty safe about playing it here. Not like it's going to run into any more fields or any more houses that I play. The brewery, the best spot is just to play it down here. Now, I don't think I'm going to get to it. If it's more likely that I get a hop field, it's better to play it down here so that the hop field can benefit from the brewery. If I get a tavern, it's more beneficial to play the brewery up here because then the tavern can reach further and hit more of my houses. I'm going to play it up here because I think the tavern is a pretty... Like, it's a building that I could get on my next pull if that happens. And then we play to maximize points. I don't care about the seaweed farm that's going to happen here. I want to see the biggest numbers that I can. Is this any 12s? There's an 11. I'll play it on the 12. Oh, is that 1 point off? That's 1 point off. Okay. 929. Middle ground. Pretty respectable score. I'm liking the look of the city. It's pretty nice. I like the pink contrasts on the beach. So, taking stock of this island, what do I think I could have done better? I don't think I had the time to be able to get the two city centers down here beside the statue. Um, so playing the second one up here was the correct call compared to placing it on the ridge, but this might not have been the place for the first city center. It is good to place it beside the statue so that your first few buildings can get you enough points to unlock options for you, but there was no place for a shaman to be hidden in the corners. I wasn't thinking enough about that. If I saw either of these two spots and planned ahead enough to maybe place the city center here, possibly, mansions up on the no, because mansions wouldn't be able to reach between a city center here and a shaman all the way here. Houses could for sure, but then I'm not benefiting off of the statue early, and it did take me a while before I got shamans. um what else could have been different? I mean, I could have drawn a second seaweed farm. That could have been something that happened. I could have placed a seaweed farm over here to make the seaweed fields for the, what was it? I think the brewery scales off of it. And no, it was the shamans, because there's a corner here that I put the shaman in. Playing it beside the seaweed fields would have gotten me like an extra 8 points in this run. It matters. I mean, in every run it matters. Every bit of points that you can scrape as extra is going to be beneficial. But what else? I think the mill was a pretty good placement. I'm trying to think if I should have placed the masons elsewhere, because when I had the original idea of placing the masons here, I thought I was going to be able to fill up this ridge with houses beside a city center, but houses, even though I think of them as having a large range, are deceptively small compared to like how I want to build them. So I think all three of my masons should have been here so that all of the houses could have benefited from them. That would have reduced me by, I think these guys were 18, this guy was 14. That would have reduced me by a full 8 points on these guys. And it would have also put them beside this one, so maybe a bit more than 8 points. But if I place one house beside all three of these, that's an immediate 6 points. I place two houses beside them, that's 12 points. I think I needed to play more into the masons beside houses for this run to have more legs. I'm fine with where the sand pits got placed, not much better that I can do there. The brickyard didn't have to interact with anything, but it's also not taking up like prime real estate from anything. Masons need to be beside it. They're close enough. They're long range. I don't usually need to worry about my exact placements of the brickyards. I think the fountains were good. Previously, I would cut away squares to be able to like place a fountain down in the future, but I think that's planning too far ahead, and it can really stunt your growth at like key times. If I kept a square a little bit further in the center away so that my fountain could hit like, say, an extra house back here or an extra mansion or two, then that would mean that I wouldn't have the mansions that get points off of the city center and the statue, which I needed to get the packs, like the fountain pack, or just any building packs in the future. So I'm fine with placing them on the outsides and then placing other mansions or houses nearby to be able to still benefit from them on like the second half. I think they have the same range as houses, so I think I've talked at length about everything that I could have done this run. I do still feel awkward about lighthouse placements. This guy could have been played a lot earlier on this run, but on others it might be better to consider them. I don't think they're a late game building. I think I do just take the instant 40 or so points that they provide. Now, with my seaweed fields being closer, that also means that my lighthouses have to be closer, which they're going to benefit the fisheries. I don't know if they have any kind of negatives on other buildings, but it is going to be difficult to find a spot that's going to get all of the rays unblocked. Like if I put it up here, a solid 3 or 4 are going to be blocked by this cliffside, but I would make up for that in this fish right away. And this fishery would just get me bonus points on top of it.